Good morning. My name is Mary Barrientos, and today I'll be presenting on the topic of CAFTA. Now, very quickly, does anybody know what CAFTA is? It is spelled out C-A-F-T-A. CAFTA, well, for those of you who do not know, stands for the Central American Free Trade Agreement. This agreement involves our nation, the United States, along with Central America and its multitude of resources. You may ask yourself, why is CAFTA important? Or even, why should I be paying attention to this presentation? CAFTA, through the globalization movement, has caused a devastating cause and effect action in Central America where people suffer from inequality, poverty, and violence. For the next few minutes, I implore you to pay close attention, for you, the people, have the power to change the affected countries by taking political action here in the United States. Inequality is one of the most pressing problems we face in today's world, but how is it that we've come to be in this situation? One word, globalization. Globalization, sadly, is the direct cause of inequality in Central America. Globalization made it possible for people of wealth, the 1%, or in other words, the transnational elite, to receive status through a power shift from the common people of Central America. The transnational elite is considered a person who seeks to benefit themselves when it comes to finances, marketing, and production. The majority of the time, the elite only seek global capitalism and not the benefit of the people. The globalization movement started off with the intention of interconnecting with other countries, spreading technological ideas, helping the nation's people, and strengthening political ties. But the only real result of globalization was the giant socio-economic gap between the elite and the people of Central America. This gap further led the countries that were once democratically run to be reshaped into an authoritarian government where the elite had the final word. Think about it. People of wealth already have a certain amount of status to their names. Most likely, when they are presented with an opportunity to gain more economic status, they will take it. Now, keeping in mind what was forementioned, these people only truly care about their own self-interest and will dismiss others. So when it comes down to it, they will not hesitate to repress others for their own self-gain. This is how CAFTA comes into play. The Central American Free Trade Agreement is an extension of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which is one of the world's largest free trade zones. The CAFTA involves five main Central American nations, which are Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and in some cases the Dominican Republic. The CAFTA came with the promise of improving the lives of these Central American people, but in reality, what it ended up doing was creating a legal doorway where people were being taken advantage of for the benefit of others, creating poverty. Inequality and poverty come hand in hand when it comes to the topic of CAFTA. CAFTA exploits the Central American farmers to sell their agricultural production for much less than what it's worth. People lost their jobs. Many were forced to work in the fields for little to no pay, and family farms were forced into foreclosure. Central America, through this agreement, was being exploited by the United States. The United States is the largest buyer of Central American resources, giving the United States substantial power over Central America. It is Central America's economic struggle that puts them in a disadvantage. The United States will take advantage of the situation and pay little to no money for the products because they are in a position to do so. Hence, the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer. Along with poverty comes other problems, for example, hunger. In the 1990s, Central America could not produce food fast enough to benefit the Central American economy. Only a few people benefited at this time. The creation of jobs were out of the question, and countries like Nicaragua, Honduras, and Costa Rica now had to face a new problem, hunger. This situation resulted in an increase in inequality, poverty, and violence. If you push people to the point where they no longer have rights, inequality is an issue, and where many are suffering from hunger and malnutrition, you will receive nothing but violence in the end. When people are tired of being oppressed, they will band together and revolutionize. They will all try to make a difference to improve the living and working conditions. We see a perfect example of this in the movie When the Mountains Tremble, narrated by Rigoberta Menchú. When the people were being oppressed, many formed unions and made events where they spoke up for their rights. They all wanted to be treated fairly, to stop being exploited, and to receive better work environments, which I think that we all agree were fair requests. But the only thing they received in the end was a movement of terrible violence. The government pushed the people to react in the manner in which they did, and they, the people, pushed back. Now, since poverty is a tremendous problem, crime is not far behind. When people have no food, they will resort to stealing and or involvement of drug-based crimes. When push comes to shove, people will do what they can to survive. This is where the idea survival of the fittest comes to play a role. Poverty leads to crime, and crime leads to violence. It is no wonder that since CAFTA was put into effect, that inequality and violence has skyrocketed. All of these factors are forever interconnected and locked in a never-ending cycle unless we do something about it. The Central American Free Trade Agreement has caused suffering through famine, violence, inequality, poverty, oppression, and even greed from the elite. We should all be outraged by the injustice taking place by these third world countries due to the intervention of globalization by the United States. But is it really our government we should be outraged with? In the end, we the people are at fault in this situation. Many of us do not educate ourselves when it comes to current events, nor do we take part in political decisions. So, I am almost certain that majority of you had no clue that the United States was oppressing Central America in the way previously mentioned. So get involved. Let's make a change. Let us return the power to the people, reduce inequality, poverty, and violence, and let us come together to make a change in the affected countries by taking political action here in the United States. It all starts with you. Thank you.